life mom. I'm the real life mom. I'm Terry. I have a number of different things that I do videos on. One of those topics that seems to be the most popular is anything to do with Akumal Bay Beach and Wellness Resort. It's a resort that's located in Akumal, Mexico, which is in the Riviera Maya. It's about an hour and 20 minutes drive south of the Cancun airport. And it's a beautiful, quiet place. It's not a party place. It's a really nice place to get away. If you're into party resorts, this is not for you. If you're into big, grand shows, this is not for you. And if you're into swim-up bars and a big party atmosphere, this is not for you. If you like beautiful beach, calm water, beautiful blue water, snorkeling with sea life like giant sea turtles and beautiful coral and spotted eagle rays and fish of all kinds. If you like kind of a chill evening atmosphere, live bands to dance to that are local bands, they do mostly covers. If you like great service, friendly staff, and having your room face the ocean and be fairly close to the ocean, just steps away from the ocean. If that's for you, then this resort is for you. I know that there are people out there that have been to the resort and have varying opinions about it being as quiet as it is, but that's what we look forward to. It just peels the layers away, and it's a very stress-free vacation. And if you want to get to some place that has big shows, has a party atmosphere, you just get in a taxi or a colectivo and off you go, and you could go into Playa del Carmen or Tulum and you could find it there. There's also a lot of ecological parks and entertainment kind of parks that are just a taxi ride away. So this suits us, it fits us like a glove. This video is actually, part one is going to cover just kind of basically the resort itself, what to prepare for, how to pack for a vacation at this resort specifically. And part two is going to cover how to look for a good deal to book the resort, the travel experience, what to do to get ready to travel to Mexico, and then specifically to this resort. So I'll divide it into those two. So we're just going to get started right away, right into part one, what to pack. Okay. I have a general rule that I follow. I am a prepper, and one of the great rules of preppers is 2 is 1, 1 is none. That means that if you have something that's important, that's critical, and you have only one, and it breaks or you lose it, you have none. If you have 2, one of them breaks or you lose it, you still have 1. So that's the rule of thumb on the things that are non-replaceable easily. Put it that way. Let's say you have 1 pair of flip-flops. They fit, you think you look good in them, and you probably do. And you've either already have them or you found them at a good price because you went shopping around, and so you pack them, you take them on your trip, you're walking around at the resort. At some point, the strap on it breaks. Now you have none. Now you can buy things like flip-flops at the lobby store. They may or may not have something that you like or that is comfortable for you or that is your size, and you may not necessarily like the price. That's true also of shops in the little town of Akumal. We'll talk about Akumal. But literally, when you're at a beach resort, the last thing you need is to not have any flip-flops to wear, because you're basically going to live in flip-flops most of this trip. So then when I say packing flip-flops, pack 2 pair. 1 pair should go into your personal bag, and I'll get to that, and 1 pair you can put in your check bag. There are other places where you can buy things outside of the town of Akumal. There's Playa del Carmen. They have a lot of shopping there. They have Walmart, a Sam's Club, some local chain grocery and miscellaneous kinds of stores. Tulum has a lot of stores. They have a lot of cute little um, clothing stores and boutique shops. Playa del Carmen has shopping all up and down Fifth Avenue, which is a famous tourist shopping and restaurant area. And I encourage you to, if you've not been to any of them, I encourage you to go and see what that's all about. But pack your 2 pairs of flip-flops and 2 swimsuits. Again, if the drawstring breaks on one of your swimsuits, you'll have another. If you spilled something, you've got another. If one is wet when you want to put your swimsuit on, but you don't want to put on a wet swimsuit, you've got another. So at least 2 swimsuits. I tend to pack a lot more than 2 because I'm a overpacker. That's just how I am, because I want to have a lot of options, and over the years I've gotten a lot of cute swimsuits, and I really only get to use them when we go on vacation. So I'm going to bring as many as I can, and that's going to tend to be at least 1 for every day we're there. In this case, it's going to be 10 suits. Yes, 10. You're going to want to pack t-shirts and shorts. And probably the best way to know how many is partly going to be based on your own personal preference. If you wear the same shorts 2 days in a row, that's something that you know about yourself. I recommend that you take the number of days you're going to be there, divide it in half, and pack that many pairs of t-shirts and shorts, because you can do laundry at the resort. If you're going to bring the little Tide Pods to do laundry, I discourage that, because they've been found to be really bad for water systems. And in the Riviera Maya, the tourism is already overburdening their water and sewage systems. And so let's not add any more problems to it. You don't have to bring biodegradable laundry soap, but it wouldn't hurt. But just pack a little bottle of laundry soap, enough to do 1 or 2 loads of laundry, and then a couple of dryer sheets. The dryer sheets will also do double duty, because you tuck those into your suitcases, and it keeps your clothing and items in your suitcase from getting that airport kind of smell. But there is a washer and dryer located at the resort behind Building 2 on the main floor, and it is for guest use, but it is first come, first serve. I'm pretty sure that it doesn't cost anything, but if it does, it's just going to be coins, and you can get coins at the front desk if you need them. You can also buy laundry soap and dryer sheets either in the lobby shop or down in the town of Akumal. But if you're doing laundry halfway through, then bringing half as many clothes as days that you'll be there is a good rule of thumb for a baseline of what to pack. Yes, it's a vacation, not a fashion show, but I kind of treat it like one. Because not like I go parading around, but I like to dress up. I like to look cute. I like to look different than I do every day of the year, because I am on a special vacation. And so, yeah, I bring cute tops, not just t-shirts. And I bring cute shorts and skirts and dresses. It's just what I do. You can bring as much as you want. Just be aware of your weight restrictions on your luggage. Your airline website will have that listed, how many suitcases you can bring, and how much that'll cost. Typically, if you're checking a bag, it's like $35 for the first bag, and then it can be anywhere from $45 on up for a second check bag per traveler. So if you're traveling with one other person, each of you gets that first check bag for the $35. If you're flying a ticket that includes one check bag or two check bags, that bonus. We scored a first class fare for basically the same price as premium economy and not much more than economy because we booked early, and sometimes that's available. That particular trip has gone up by almost $1,000, so it is going to continue to go up as we get closer. But that includes a check bag each at 70 pounds, whereas in I think it starts in premium economy and economy, they're limited to around 45 pounds. And you can imagine how quickly, if you pack a lot like I do, you're going to go over that 45 pounds, and then you're going to be paying overweight baggage fee, or you're going to have to check a second bag. So remember your weight restrictions and the number of bags you're bringing, what that's going to cost you, and it's going to cost you each way. So if they say $35 for that first check bag, that's $35 to go to Mexico and $35 back. And also remember, you're going to want to leave some room for whatever you might buy while you're down there. You may get souvenirs. Just leave room for bringing things home. There are dress codes at some of the restaurants. It's not going to impact you a lot, but you are going to want to be aware of it. The restaurants are divided into a la carte, the buffet, the snack bar, and the sushi bar. There are 4 a la cartes. There is the gourmet a la carte called Cuban. It's kind of a French cuisine. There is the Lima Peruvian fusion. It's kind of fused with a little bit of Asian. There's the Alux, which is the Mexican contemporary cuisine, and then the Rodizio, which is a Brazilian grill. The dress codes start with the most strict, which is the Cuban gourmet restaurant. It's the fanciest, I guess you could say. The waiters all dress on point. They have an assistant that helps them to take care of their guests. They are very professional, very well trained, and they take very good care of you. They provide a very elegant atmosphere, and we like to show respect for the effort that they went to provide that atmosphere by dressing for the occasion. You don't have to wear a suit and tie, but these are the restrictions, and these are for men. They require long trousers. That does not have to be suit weight trousers. They could be linen. It could be something very breathable. And closed-toed shoes. That could be any kind of shoe. My husband wears a pair of kind of a canvas slip-on, and that's what he uses on the airplane. And they're comfortable to walk in, easy to slip on and off, and very breathable. And they look really good with the linen trousers. They're actually yoga pants that he wears at the gourmet. He also wears a yoga shirt because it's linen, breathable, and it looks really nice. And we've got them in a couple different colors, so he looks really sharp in them. They also say no tank tops, no sleeveless shirts. So just use that as your guideline. Yeah, you could go in there, jeans and a t-shirt and a pair of tennis shoes, and you fit the dress code. But you may want to consider dressing up a little bit because, yeah, you're on vacation, and this is kind of a special experience. They're going to a lot of trouble to treat you like you're a gourmet guest. For women, there's really not a dress code. But again, we like to show respect for the effort that they've gone to create that atmosphere. And we like to enjoy the atmosphere and feel like we fit, like we're comfortable. And so I typically wear a cocktail dress when we go to the gourmet and high heel sandals. It's one of the few times that you can really dress up without going to a lot of trouble. I mean, you can wear a skirt and a blouse, you can wear a sundress, you can wear flip-flops, or you could wear just a pair of sandals. But why not really dress it up a little bit? You would only really need one dressy outfit. I bring 6, I think. But you really only need to bring one. And it can be anything. The Peruvian is similar. The Peruvian, the Mexican, and the Rodizio all have the same dress code. And it's called casual elegant. And if you think about that, it kind of still fits with Cuban. But with that, they aren't requiring closed-toe shoes for men. They still require no tank tops and no sleeveless shirts. They don't require long trousers. So you could go in your shorts and your flip-flops, but no tank tops, no sleeveless shirts. And again, for women, you choose for yourself. The buffet, the only dress code that it has is it says it's casual dress, and they ask that you not wear any wet swimsuit attire and no bare feet. So it's pretty wide open. The snack bar and the sushi bar are both casual, and you can be barefoot, and you can be in a swimsuit, and you can be wet. The restaurants can be cold, particularly Cuban and then sometimes Lima. So I recommend women bring a pashmina because it's going to be a little chilly in that restaurant. As far as how much you bring, it's up to you. What you wear to the restaurants is up to you. We follow the dress code pretty closely, and so we've never had a problem. I don't know if anyone's ever been asked to leave or not permitted to enter, really. I know in other resorts, we've watched people not allowed in because they weren't dressed correctly. And at one situation, we went to lunch, and I didn't know that the requirement was that you couldn't go in a sleeveless shirt, and I had a sleeveless shirt, and so I had to go change because they weren't going to let me in with my sleeveless shirt. I don't know if the restaurants at Akumal Bay deny service based on that, and I kind of doubt it because I've seen people in there that were not dressed according to the dress code, but I'm not gonna risk having to walk all the way back and change. You're gonna want to bring snorkeling, diving gear, whatever it is that you use. You don't need it. If you're not going to snorkel and you're not going to dive, you certainly aren't going to need it. And if you don't want to or don't have your own, you don't want to bring your own, they have it available at the dive shop in front of Building 1. And they have 1 hour free to use the snorkel gear and I believe a life jacket. They don't provide fins, and so you can use it for an hour for free. Anytime over that hour will be $5 for the next 23 hours. And it doesn't mean that $5 an hour. It's $5 for the next 23 hours. So you could literally use them for $5 a day. Typically, you're not going to be out there longer than an hour. Some of us that are avid snorkelers are out there for more than an hour. But typically, you'll be out there about an hour, and then you just bring it back, and they clean it up and get it ready for the next guest. You can bring your own. I like to bring my own because my mask is fitted to my face. I went to a local dive shop, and I had it fitted to my face. And I like just knowing that I'm not going to be using a used snorkel. We do bring fins, and we use fins. We use short fins. You can use long ones, but they request that you not. And that's because of the potential for damage to the coral that they're working on fixing. There is an active coral restoration project going on, and you can get fined for standing on the coral, bringing coral in from the water. Don't bring anything in from the water. If you find a shell, if you find coral floating around, leave it in the water. You can be fined for it. It's a federal offense. It's a protected area, and a lot of times you'll see like a shell on the floor of the sea, and it's got something living in it, and you don't see it. These shells are used by a lot of little critters in there. And in some cases, the coral that you picked up, it's still alive. It may have broken off, but it's still alive. And it does add something to the area. So don't bring anything in from the water, no matter what it is, unless it's garbage. Then please do bring it in from the water. I'm gonna put the contact information for the dive center in the description. You can contact them and arrange to get your diving certification, any level diving certification. And they typically will use a local charter in just up the beach to go out and do the different dives for the different certifications. But you can contact them ahead of time for that. And around the resort, there are a lot of different activities that go on. They have a sandcastle building competition. I think that's on Thursdays, not positive. They do painting under the trees. They have salsa and other types of Latin dance lessons. They have aqua gym in the pool. There's volleyball games on the beach. There is stand-up paddleboarding. You're going to see kayaks out in the water. They don't belong to the resort. They belong to the Secrets next door. And you cannot use them because you're not a guest of the Secrets. I'm hoping that Akumal Bay Resort brings back kayaks. They used to have them before they got the stand-up paddleboards. And I really hope they bring back the kayaks because not everybody can do stand-up paddleboarding. I can't. And we've had friends that traveled with us that can't. And it'd be nice if they had something that they could do. But for now, they don't have them. But around the resort, you will see these employees. They're typically young, college-age kids. The girls are all dressed in bright pink shorts, t-shirt, and hat. And the guys are all wearing kind of this aqua blue shorts, t-shirt, and hat. And they are what is known as the animation team, which basically is the entertainment staff. They organize all of the activities on the resort. So you'll see them walking around the resort. If you have a question about something, ask them. If you want to get a volleyball game going, ask them. They come out in the evening after their dinner break, all dressed in black long pants and a black t-shirt, and you'll see their name tag on their shirt. They also organize the nightly entertainment. So, if you're wondering, well, what kind of band are we going to have tomorrow night? Because they kind of mix it up. Latin music one night, oldies, just different themes. They have a rock band that comes in. You can ask them what's going on, when is this going to happen, that kind of thing. They also have a guy that, actually several, that are in charge of the sea turtle project for the resort. Every resort has people that are assigned to that, and their job is to monitor the sea turtle nests on the resort. Sometimes, and they've kind of gotten away from it, but sometimes you will have an opportunity to participate in the release of baby sea turtles. Again, they've got trying to get away from it, so you might not, and that's okay. But that's an experience that you'll never forget. It's just magical. If you see a mother sea turtle coming out of the water, do not approach her. If anything, freeze. Don't move unless she's coming right for you. Don't move, because if you scare her, she is going to go right back out to the water. And if she's close to needing to lay her eggs, she may just dump her eggs in the water and they won't survive. So give her an opportunity to go and find the spot she's going to dig her nest. And once she starts laying, not while she's digging, but once she starts laying, then it's safe for you to approach a little bit, but stay back away from her. You can watch from a little bit of a distance. I don't know if there's a rule about how much distance, but we were given we stumbled on an opportunity to watch a turtle lay her eggs, and we stayed well back until she was done digging and started laying. Once they start laying, they go into a trance, and they don't notice anything. And so we got about 6 feet away from her and just sat and just watched. And about halfway through her laying, this group from SEA, which is the Centro Ecological something, I don't remember, but they are in charge of the whole project on the beach. They come walking up with some of their volunteers. They start straddling her, they're measuring her, and they're talking, and we left because it just kind of broke the magical spell that it felt like we had for just a little bit, sharing that very private moment with that mama sea turtle. But yeah, they don't notice anything once you get to that point. But still, even though she was measuring that turtle, she's authorized. You are not. And that includes in the water. If you see a sea turtle in the water, do not follow it closely. You can follow maybe at a distance, but don't chase the turtle. Don't hover above it because they need to surface to get oxygen. Don't touch them. And if they start getting close to you, back away. Do not touch them. There are rules that protect them. One of the rules is out in the bay, there's a roped off area, and that's really where most of the sea turtles hang out. They're mostly teenagers. There's a lot of seagrass in that area, and so they tend to hang there. But they don't only hang there. They also come down closer to Akumal's resort, and there's no rules governing the turtles. They can go where they want. And so you'll see them outside of that roped off area, but to go into the roped off area, you have to go with a guide, and that costs money. It's up to you if you want to pay it. If you go early enough in the morning, there's nobody there that is monitoring who's in the roped off area. By about 9 a.m., it's getting too warm anyway, and just come on in. But if you go out early enough, like around 7-ish, you should be able to go into the roped off area just fine and see turtles. But during the day, they're pretty much all there. And that I'm going to cover some other things about being around the sea life when I get into the actual packing, but that should cover that. I have some videos that I have posted. I'm going to put the links in here for what is there to do on the resort, and then another video for what there is to do off the resort, because it gives you some ideas of things that you could plan for. You can request a room at the resort. I'm going to put the email address in the description. Contact them only the month prior to your check-in date. Don't do it 2-3 months ahead. Your message needs to contain the booking number or the last name of the person that the reservation is under. The rooms are assigned the day prior to your arrival. They get all the packets prepared for the people that are coming in the next day, and they assign their rooms. And if you have a room request, they will tag it in their system. The person assigning will see that tag and will do the best that they can to assign you the room that you want. But there's no guarantees. And if you get there and you find that you've been given a room that was not what you had requested, you can talk to the front desk, see if the room you requested is coming available, and if you can move to it then, or if, in the next day or so you can move to it. But be as flexible as you can, because it's not a guarantee, and a lot of places won't let you reserve rooms. So this is really kind of a nice thing that they try to do, and they do try. No matter how far in advance you make your request, there's still no guarantee. So it's not a first come, first serve thing. All right. Packing. Here's some tips of ways that I pack that I've learned over the years that really come in handy. First and foremost, I pack everything in Ziploc bags, and I do mean everything. Akumal, Cancun in general, is in the rainforest, and it is subject to a lot of heavy rain. And we've had times where our plane was sitting on the tarmac and we had to watch a movie waiting for the rain to stop because the water was so deep on the runway that the plane couldn't approach. It just had to sit there. So, if your bags are being unloaded during a torrential rain, they're going to get soaking wet. We have had our bags arrive on the belt, the conveyor, the carousel, and they were soaking wet. But because I packed with Ziploc bags, everything inside those bags was dry. And that's a big thing. Also, if you have liquids, which you're going to, most people do, that perfumes and shampoos and conditioners and lotions and sunscreens and all those kinds of things that you bring that are liquids. If you have liquids, put them in their own Ziploc bag, and if it has a cap that you can remove, take the cap off, put a piece of plastic wrap over the opening, and then twist the cap down on top of that. That's going to mitigate a lot of spills. Sometimes those little snap lids will snap open in transit and then everything leaks out. But if you've got that inside seal, it won't. But having your liquids in their own Ziploc bag, and you can combine a couple things that are similar. Don't combine your insect repellent with your sunscreen. That would be bad. But you can combine. But once they're in there, they're not going to leak all over. People use compression bags. I haven't used them. There is a risk at using compression bags. They're the kind that you put things in, and then you zip one zipper to close it, and then another zipper to remove all the excess air so it packs really flat. That's really nice. But keep in mind, it's not going to change the weight. And you can put more things in your suitcase with that compression bag, but that's going to add more weight. So keep an eye on your weight before you call it good. Pack everything kind of in separate bags. That means that half of my clothes will go in my suitcase and half will go in my husband's suitcase, and vice versa. So that if one suitcase makes it and the other one doesn't, we each have something to wear. Pack your cash that you bring in separate bags as well, so that if one gets lost, you still have some cash. You're going to want to check on your airline's website for any restrictions on checked baggage, any rules that they have, what you personally on your ticket for your trip are allowed to do and what you're not allowed to do. And that's going to be different for different airlines and for different itineraries. I've heard of people using Pringles cans to pack crushables, things that they don't want, sliding around in their suitcase, like, I guess, necklaces, things like that. A flight attendant recommended that you bring a diaper, a disposable diaper, so that when you're down at the beach and you've got your phone and whatever else that you bring down there with you that is a valuable that you don't want to have stolen, wrap it up in that diaper and make it look as though that diaper is used. People aren't going to tend to mess with the diaper. I haven't tried it, but I'm going to try it this time. If it's a time of year when you're going to be wearing a coat to the airport, like we're going to be going in October, and so we're not going to bring heavy coats, but we are going to bring a jacket of some kind. Bring a disposable grocery bag, like you get at Walmart or someplace, and have that in your personal bag so that when you get on the airplane, you put your jacket in that and tie it shut, and you can tuck that under the seat in front of you and your jacket won't get dirty. Have a full change of clothes in your carry-on. That meaning anything that you might need to change into if you're trapped in an airport because of a hurricane and you have to stay there overnight and you want to change your clothes. Bring a full change of clothes, right down to underwear and socks. Also, if you got caught in a rainstorm and you're soaking wet, now you have something to change into. And if for some reason in your connecting flight, you're stuck in the airport, you've got a change of clothes. Let's say, we're not going to be able to get you out of here until tomorrow. Well, so we're going to have to check into a hotel and I don't have anything to wear. There you go. You have it in your personal or your carry-on. For your personal bag, leave room in it that if for some reason they want you to check your carry-on, any valuables that you might have in your carry-on, you can put into your personal bag, because you could still bring your personal bag with you, but sometimes because of space in the carry-on, the overhead bins, or the size of the airplane, they cannot allow every passenger to check or to keep a carry-on, and so they'll check them. It's called gate checking, and sometimes you will get that suitcase that carry-on when you get to the destination. They'll bring them up into the jetway and then you get it. Most of the time it's going into the baggage carousel or carousel. So you're not going to see it until you pick up all your luggage. And if that connecting airport is where you get stuck, you're not going to want to not have the things you need, and you certainly aren't going to want to check your valuables. And what's valuable to you is going to be different than what's valuable to me, so I'm not going to go into all that. But talked about bringing laundry soap and dryer sheets. Another benefit of bringing liquid laundry soap rather than laundry pods is you can wash clothes in the sink. You know, you can hand wash things, so you're not having to rely on a washing machine. There's also a laundry service that the hotel provides. People have used it and they've liked it. I've never used it, so I can't speak to that. There's also a laundry service in the little town of Akumal. It's actually in the Pueblo. So there's the beachside town, and then you go across the highway on a walkway, and then you're in the Pueblo, and that's where the laundry service is. And people have used that and have really liked it. So there's a couple of options for not having to do laundry. You're going to want to have a pair of comfy shoes. And I don't mean dressy comfy, and I don't mean hiking boots necessarily. You're going to want comfy shoes to go through the airport anyway. And if you go anywhere, any kind of excursion where there's a lot of walking involved, you're not going to want to necessarily do that in flip-flops. People do, but sometimes that's not very comfortable, and it's really hard on your flip-flops, I'll put it that way. If you have a pair of shoes that you have on that are breathable and comfortable to walk in, you can do a whole lot more walking comfortably that way. And if, let's say you go to the Tulum ruins, there's a lot of walking on uneven surfaces there. And the Koba ruins, they, at least the last time I checked, they still allowed people to climb the pyramid. And you're not going to want to do that in flip-flops. That's not only dangerous, but yeah, it's not comfortable. So bring a pair of comfy shoes. They can be the shoes that you wear in the airport, and I recommend that they are because it saves you on weight in your suitcase and space. A big beach bag. Beach bags are valuable because you're going to be hauling stuff from your room down to your palapa, and you're not going to want to have multiple bags. One big beach bag can fold flat in your suitcase, and then it's valuable for bringing the beach towels and your phone. And I usually bring a pillow down there with me because I need a little extra pillow for my neck, a book, if you're going to be using your tablet on the beach, your sunscreen, and anything you might need to haul down there. I mean, we have an extra little thing that we do. We bring a lot of extra sarongs and bungee cords, because the palapa shade structures and the bally bed shade drapes don't cover as well as I would like them to, and especially if it's a bright, hot, sunny day and the sun's moving, they don't always cover everywhere that sun's going to be hitting, and you could get a sunburn pretty quickly. So we take those sarongs, we tie a knot in the corner, and then attach a bungee cord to it, and that's how we attach it, as either a drape underneath or a sunblock from the side. And we have to carry those down to the beach too, and they go right in that beach bag. A crossbody bag is really good to take with you rather than a purse that either hangs on your shoulder or you carry in your hand. This is good for men too. Gives them, and they make some very masculine looking crossbody bags, but the crossbody bag is great for putting in your wallet with your credit cards, your passport, boarding pass, glasses, anything you want right there handy. And because it's a crossbody bag, you're not going to set it somewhere while you're looking at something and forget about it. And if it's big enough, you can use it as a shopping bag while you're, maybe you go into Tulum to the shops and you don't want to be carrying bags. You can either attach the bag to the crossbody bag, or if it's big enough, you can just put the item in the bag. And that saves you having to carry that. Mosquito repellent, yes, you need it. If mosquitoes ever bite you, because there's a lot of mosquitoes down there. Now, if you go in the winter months, there's hardly any. We never go in the winter months. We always go when there's a lot of mosquitoes. So if you're going to be on the jungle side of the resort, if you're going to be on the jungle side of the town, if you're going to go into town, you're going to encounter them day and night. If you're on the beach side and you're up in the restaurant areas, it's going to depend on how much of a breeze there is. Down on the beach, most of the time you're not ever going to need it on the beach because there's a good breeze blowing. And if you're in a penthouse, you're typically not going to need it up there. But the lower you get to the ground, the mosquitoes can fly just a certain height. And so depending on where your room is located, you could encounter mosquitoes. I use Sawyer's. I'm going to put that up here. But you can get any kind. As long as it has 100% DEET or Paracardian, I can't remember how to say that, that's going to be the best for you. You can use natural methods. I haven't, and I don't know if I want to trust my vacation to it just yet. I'll have to experiment with that. Sunscreen, make sure it's reef safe, and it'll say it on the container if it is. If it doesn't say it, then it's not. And if you're going to be putting on sunscreen or tanning lotion, and then you're going to be down on the beach, especially if you're going in the water, particularly going in the water, you're going to have that leach into the water, and that can damage the coral, and it can be toxic to the sea life. You can buy it there in town. I think they even sell it at the lobby shop, but I know they sell it in the town of Akumal. Just make sure it says reef safe. Water shoes. A lot of people are starting to complain more that the beaches in that area are becoming more and more eroded from the storms that have come through. And despite the efforts to try to restore the beaches, they're still going to encounter some rocks. There are soft sand entries all along that area, and you'll discover them. But water shoes will help save your feet. And we're going to bring them this time. We haven't typically brought them, but we'll bring them this time. Again, snorkel gear if you have your own. Any medications that you take, and if it's a prescription medication, make sure you have it in the same container that you got it in with the prescription written on the outside. And if you can, bring a copy of your prescription from your doctor so that there's never a question about why you're having that and bringing it into the country. And particularly if it's a narcotic. And just bring enough for your stay. You don't need to bring a ton, but bring enough for your stay. And don't pack that in any bag that could get checked, and that includes your carry-on, unless you're going to remember to pull it out of that carry-on if they decide that you have to gate check it. We always use a stool softener from the first day of our trip to prevent any backing up, any constipation, because you're changing altitude so much and you're not drinking as much, you're becoming more dehydrated, you're drinking things that contribute to dehydration, you're eating foods you're not used to. All of these things can contribute to, plus you're sitting on an airplane for hours, and then you get on your vacation, you're not tending to do a whole lot of jogging, at least most of us aren't. And so you're going to have a problem with constipation. And so what we do is we take a stool softener from day one, and we'll take it until we know we've kind of gotten past that point. But just be aware of that. I'm not a doctor, and I can't give you any kind of medical advice, but that's what we do. There are hospitals in the area. There is a small hospital in Tulum. There's a bigger hospital in Playa del Carmen. The resort itself does have a doctor. I don't know if they're on call or if they spend time at the resort, but I do know that they have some kind of medical care available. If you have travel insurance, check what it covers and make sure that it will do a medical evac. If not, check your own insurance to see if it covers that in a foreign country. And check to see if your medical insurance will cover bills in a foreign country, which could simply mean you'll get reimbursed when you get home by your insurance. And bring any of that documentation with you. Pack that as part of the documents that you bring. is your insurance card and perhaps the page that states what it covers. A lot of times, these hospitals in foreign countries don't trust that a tourist really has insurance to cover this, or that the insurance will actually pay. And so they will require an upfront cash payment. So have a credit card that has some room on it. I recommend up to $1,000. You probably won't need that much, but depending on the severity of what you're being seen for, have some room on a credit card just in case. Bring some WD-40. The doors for the balconies are very heavy. They're heavy for a reason, because they're made to withstand up to hurricane force winds, which they did great. We were there during Hurricane Zeta, and they did great. They withstood the winds and performed great, but that makes them heavy. Plus, you add to that the rain that comes through, because you're in the rainforest, and then the baking sun and the salt air and the constant use, and it's just a recipe for the tracks getting a little warped, the wood getting warped so it doesn't move as smoothly. But the WD-40, I've heard from other guests that it works really well, so we're going to bring a small can of it. Rain ponchos, you only need the kind that you get in the travel section, the little pouches of rain ponchos. Bring one for each of you. We used ours after Hurricane Zeta, because the morning it was still kind of raining, and it was a little bit windy, so it was nice to have that over our clothes, but we didn't need a full-on raincoat. Just one of those little rain ponchos. Consider the seasons that you're going, specifically for booking, but also for what you could expect to encounter when you're there. Sargassum season, it really is a season. It really starts to get bad in the late spring and runs through summer. So by fall, it's kind of tapering off, and then winter, there's practically none. But again, it's not always going to be the case. Sometimes a storm will roll through the sargassum fields and break more off and bring more in. It's in the tides and the currents and all of that. All of the beaches that have any current that comes from that area, anything on the Caribbean side, anything in the Gulf of Mexico, a lot of Florida beaches up into South Carolina, I think even North Carolina, and maybe even further north than that, they deal with it. It's not just a thing in Akumal Bay, and they do the best they can. There is a tax that you pay when you visit Mexico. It's called visit tax, and it's per person. It's a one-time fee that covers your trip, and they use that money to, among other things, to deal with the sargassum problem. And so when you see these guys out there cleaning up, they're being paid by that fee. So don't gripe about the fee. Based on what time of the year you book, you might want to prepare for different activities. Like at Halloween, I know that they've had Halloween parties there, and there are Halloween parties that are being held in Akumal and Playa del Carmen and Tulum, and they coincide with Dia de la Muerto, which is a Mexican holiday to honor their loved ones that have passed. And it coincides with Halloween, and so it kind of all goes together. So you might want to think about being prepared to have a costume. You're going to encounter crowds, higher occupancies, and more difficulty getting in and out of attractions, things like that, based on high seasons. High season typically is from about end of November through end of January, and that includes Christmas. Christmas is really busy. Then you have spring break, which is basically in March, and that doesn't really affect Akumal as much as it affects other areas, but it will affect the airport, and it will affect some of the bigger attractions. You also have, of course, Dia de la Muerta. You have Mexican Independence Day, which is like midway through September, and that's a big tourist week, and it will affect Akumal because the locals bring their families to the beach, and so you're going to have a lot more people on the beach, but they tend to stay down nearer to the town because that's where facilities are that they can use. There aren't any facilities for them to use further down the beach. They like to stay up near to the town. That's where there's bathrooms and lockers and things like that. New Year's, I don't know what goes on there. I know there's probably parties, but and I imagine they probably have some kind of celebration at the resort as well. Easter is a very big holiday in Latin culture, particularly. Spaniards, Italians, they come in big numbers at Easter. But yeah, and then you have hurricane season to pack in preparation for, which means that rain poncho for certain. But you're going to want to take into account when you make your booking that a hurricane may interfere with your trip, and just wrap your head around the fact that that's why you got the trip as cheap as you did. In the years that we've been going there, and is it 20 years? It'll be 20 years next year that we've been going to the Cancun area, and 12 years, maybe it's 14 years that we've been going to Akumal specifically. We've had one hurricane that affected us negatively, and then one hurricane that affected us practically not at all. The one hurricane that affected us negatively was Wilma, and she decimated the resorts all up and down that area, and the airport as well. The whole area shut down. You couldn't get in or out of the airport. It was a mess, and all reservations were canceled, so we didn't even get to go. But you know, we felt sad that we couldn't go. We felt worse for all of the people in that area that were struggling, that lost homes and lost jobs, and all of the smaller resort and hotel owners that lost their livelihoods. And the Cancun beaches were just destroyed. So that was a bad year, and that was 2005. And then 2 trips ago, we had Hurricane Zeta that came through. She was a pretty good storm, and the resort did a beautiful job of taking care of all of the guests. If it had been much worse than it was looking like it was going to be, if they were seeing that it was going to be much worse than it ended up being, they would have evacuated us inland. But because it was manageable, they cleared everything into storage that could possibly be moved so that nothing was blowing around. And they had all the guests in their room by 6 o'clock that night. Everyone was fed. Everyone was checked on before the staff went to their safe place. We were provided with sandwiches and drinks and extra towels and bottles of water. And they asked us if there was anything else that we needed. They gave us fresh pizza from the pizza oven. And then we were just in the room for the rest of the night while the hurricane howled. The eye wall went right over Akumal town. I watched a storm chaser on my tablet standing in Akumal as the eye went over. We ended up with about 2 inches of water on the floor of our room, and we were on the 2nd floor, and so it came from the balcony, just kind of swooshed in. And then we never lost power. We did lose water. The pumps were shut down just to protect the water system. But the power stayed on. They have 2 generators at the resort, and they alternate. One will run until it's started to get too warm, and then the other one will kick in and let that one cool down. So we have power the whole night. By morning, the water was able to safely be turned back on, and by lunchtime, everything was back to normal. So there you have it. But, take that into consideration. The resort does provide some things, in case you're wondering, do I need to bring this, do I need to bring that? They have an iron and an ironing board in every room. They have a hairdryer in every room. They also provide shampoo, lotion, body wash, bath crystals that you can use in your jacuzzi tub, and bar soap. They do not provide conditioner, so if you use conditioner, bring that. If you have a specific shampoo or body wash that you would prefer to bring, go ahead and bring those. They provide one that smells like honey, and I love it, so I end up using theirs the whole time. They do have a coffee maker in each room, and it makes about 2 cups of coffee. They have coffee cups and their own local brand of coffee that is really, really good. They have coffee creamer and spoons and sugars and artificial sweeteners and tea. And they have decaf as well as fully caffeinated. Each room has a mini fridge, which is initially going to be stocked with beer and Coke, I think Diet Coke, Sprite, and orange soda, and then a candy bar and a bag of chips. They can you can ask them, because they'll check on you your first day or so there. The guy that does the mini bars will check on you and ask if, do you need more of this? Do you want less of that? We typically tell them we don't need to put beer in there because we don't drink beer. But go ahead and put more Coke. We don't want Diet Coke. More of the candy bars and the chips, that kind of thing. Anything that you want more of. Plus, they provide you with bottles of water. There's even a bottle of sparkling water or is it tonic water? I can't remember which, but it's kept in your mini fridge. Let's see. They provide beach towels at the different stations all along the resort. They're usually out there around 8 or 9 in the morning with a fresh stack of beach towels. You can just pick up 1 or 2 per person. They don't want you to take more than 2 per person because then they can run out more quickly, and that's not fair to the other guests. So 1 or 2 per person, whatever is your preference. And before the end of the day, we typically will take our wet towels up and exchange them for fresh, clean towels, and then take those back to our room so that we have them first thing in the morning. There are ATMs. There's an ATM in town. There is not an ATM at the resort. You can do currency exchange at the front desk, but they can run out, especially of the smaller bills, because people are always exchanging for smaller bills for tips. So if you need currency, you can go in town to the Banorte ATM. It's located in the area where there's some little restaurants just basically below the Italian restaurant, the Taverna. And I'll put a picture of that right here. Tipping is not required, but it is appreciated. And I'll put our breakdown here. You can pause on that if you want to see how much we tip and who we tip. But that's kind of a baseline. You can tip whatever you want. The buildings are broken down into 4. And they're actually in blocks of buildings. There's block 1, block 2, block 3, and block 4. And each building has a pool. It's going to vary on the size of the pool. The largest pool is in front of building 2. They don't allow pool toys in the pool for safety reasons, but I have seen people use them, so I guess that's kind of a, will they stop us kind of thing. I don't know. Let's see. Am I kind of done? You're going to want to keep copies of all of your important documents packed in your personal bag. I use a divided folder. It has like 5 or 7 pockets in it, and I keep different things in each pocket. One of the pockets would be for our itinerary, and another pocket would be for our reservation at the resort. Another pocket would be the reservation with our transfer company, USA Transfers, and that kind of thing. I have it divided so I can easily find what I need. But you're going to want to keep copies of the photo page of your passports for certain copies, photocopies of your insurance card. Just keep copies of that kind of thing. The excursions desk, if you want to ask about any excursions that you could go on, tours or eco parks, things like that, go to the excursions desk right next to the lobby, and they can help you with that, including setting up your transportation. that's the end of part one. Again, I'm going to cover a lot of the minutia of the actual booking process and how to choose a room, all of that kind of thing, plus all of the travel tips of how to get there and back safely and as stress-free as possible. And that'll all be in part two, so stay tuned for that. If you have any questions that I haven't answered, just pop a comment below and I'll answer it just as soon as I get to it. It's going to be a great vacation as long as it's not ruined by a hurricane. But in the meantime, watch for part two, and I hope this video was helpful to you. And I hope you have a great experience at one of the most beautiful places in the world. And that's Akumal Bay Beach and Wellness Resort.